saw the different shades of complexion, but I didn't think any different of it. They didn't put any emphasis on there being a difference. But
What's up, y'all? I'm back another video. I recorded this video last night, but I was so tired. Like I was like, I don't feel like doing this right now. But we're gonna react to Miss Mulatto, and why black people forced her to change her name. Miss Mulatto is like one of the dopest rap names I ever heard. I wish it was more like Miss Mulatto. Like that's literally like one of the dopest names to me that I've ever heard in hip hop. But we're gonna talk about or react what she's talking about in this interview with DJ Vlad.
I spent a lot of time with both sides of my family. They didn't put too much emphasis on there even being a difference when I was growing up. I really didn't even know that it was anything different about my family until I went to school. You know what I'm saying?
See, like most light skinned kids or mixed kids, they don't really we're not raised up to notice a difference in skin tones and skin color until we get around black people or a different group of people. But especially around black people because they worship skin color. You know, they idolize that. So when you're around them, they're going to point out the fact that you're light complected or your parents are this way. They're going to point those things out. Like I even went through it when I was a kid, being a lighter skinned kid, and mostly the kids were darker, and I had lighter parents, but I was in a black school, and they used to call me. Obviously, I'm not white. They know that I'm not white, but they'll walk around, and there'd be white boys in the class, but they'll specifically choose me and tease me about being a white boy. And they used to do that shit. Like, dark skinned kids used to do that, and I'm kind of having. I wouldn't necessarily I didn't have an identity issue because I didn't really care about it too much. Like it never really dawned on me that I was that much different, and it clicked with me. Um, like for example, I remember I came back home one time and I asked my uncle, I was like, "Why do these people keep calling me a white boy?" And then it's because I was the lightest one, and they would say like, he told me that I was a black man or something like that, which is the worst thing he could possibly told me. But I didn't really give a damn. Like, I was a kid, I couldn't comprehend what was really going on. And I would always get those jokes from my darker cousins and stuff, which I'm not even like. You could tell that I'm one of them. I'm just lighter, but like I look more. I ain't gonna say how I look like, but you could tell. Y'all get what I'm trying to say. Like I'm not as light as Miss Mulatto. I'm probably a little bit darker, but I would get those jokes, and they would give me nicknames like Butter and all these other names. But I never really cared about complexion. Like that wasn't on our minds, but that was on other groups of people's minds, especially black people. But let's keep going. I'm rambling.
They didn't put any emphasis on there being a difference between both sides of my family. I saw the different shades of complexion, but I didn't think any different of it growing up. No.
Okay, because your name is very interesting, Miss Mulatto. And when I first heard it, I'm like, that's a word I don't hear very often.
Right.
Dope as well.
So I actually looked it up in Wikipedia. I mean, I've definitely heard it, but I'm like, I haven't heard it being used in everyday speech. So
I wish you would have used mulatto instead of mulatto, though.
I looked it up in Wikipedia, and it says mulatto is a term to refer to a person's born of one white parent and one black parent, or
Correct.
the person's born to a mulatto parent or parents. In English, the term is today generally confined to historical contexts, meaning that it's not used anymore.
Right, correct.
English speakers of mixed white and black ancestry seldom choose to identify themselves as mulatto. So it's just an old term.
Yeah, it's definitely
It was more than that, but they kind of make it seem like it was just to mixed people or biracial people. It wasn't. It was used based off really how you looked amongst Black America, and it was more so a ethnicity. It wasn't. And he said, let me see back what he said. I missed what he said the last part.
Black.
Oh, he said it's an old term, it's an old term for a reason, which y'all already know why they did it, to outcast mixed people and make us the outcast in the society and make us fish for our identity and confuse us. That's all it was about. And it's a term that needs to come back to the forefront, so mixed people and light skinned people shouldn't have to overcompensate, for their identity. This is why America in the scriptures is known as Babylon, because that's why everybody here is confused about everything. The term Babylon literally means confusion. That's why everybody in here in America is confused about their origins, where they come from, etc. All right, this is the land of confusion. So let's keep going.
Ancestry seldom choose to identify themselves as mulatto. So it's just an old term.
Yeah, it's definitely a historic term, and it originally was a derogatory term. It's not even something that people would want to call themselves.
It's not a derogatory term, but a lot of these people, they just don't want, like, for example, I'm pretty sure she learned that from black people. All right, meaning dark skinned people, that mulatto was a bad word, is a bad term. Nothing's more worse than being called black. Go look at the etymology of black. Like, that's worse than being called a mulatto. At least with a mulatto, you got to be somewhat of a good person. All right, to be a mule for somebody. But it wasn't a derogatory term. Black is even worse. You know what's even worse than being called black? Being called dark skin. Go look at the definition of dark, the etymology of dark. All right, what they're trying to worry about what mulattoes are calling themselves, and it's really because they don't want light skinned people to rest in their identity. You guys know this already. That's all it is. They don't want y'all to have an identity for yourselves, and they want y'all to constantly prove yourselves to them. Prove your blackness to me, and then you have to fit into what their standard of what blackness is, and you would never, no matter how much you try to prove yourself, you're never going to meet that standard because it's not a real thing. All right, so let's keep going.
But for me, it's deeper than just saying, "Oh, I'm mixed. That's why my name is mulatto." It using the derogatory past. Like, I used to be kind of insecure about how I looked. I hated my hair texture growing up, and having to go to school and people look at me like, "Oh, she thinks she all that. Why she?"
You heard that? So the darkies were making her insecure about how she looked because she probably just wanted to blend in, and they would never allow her to blend in because they kept. And I talked about in Mulatto Vanguard pointed this out about how they always trying to attack the women. They know to attack the women because she's the weaker vessel, and you can pretty much take down the whole group by targeting women. And they know it's really in a man's nature to, protect women. So when you rule in women, the man is going to protect the woman by nature. So they got both of y'all conquered just by doing that. But notice how they kept trying to get her to prove herself, to prove that she didn't think that she was better than everybody else. This is a manipulation tactic they use to get you to prove themselves to them. Or even if you do think you're better than them, so the hell what? All groups of people should think they're better than the next group to some degree. Because every group is supposed to have pride in themselves. All right, but this is also why we need our own mulatto spaces, schools, academies, like we used to back in the day. So we wouldn't have to go through that. All right, and you're already a minority compared to them, and they know that. That's why they're able to pull stuff like this off. And on top of that, y'all don't support each other, so it kind of goes out the window.
She's so bright, stuff like that. I took that negative energy and made something positive out of it. Hence my movement being.
Yeah, they made you think that being light skinned and mulatto was a bad thing, even though they secretly want to be you. They want to have relations with you, to make you insecure, to point out and make it seem like it's a flaw. And once they make you insecure yourself, they can control you better. All right, that's all it's really about. Just manipulation tactics and all type of stuff.
Mulatto to today. So it's kind of like a double metaphor, not literally mulatto meaning I'm mixed, mulatto meaning the term that was once a negative word that I'm using in a positive light now.
Okay, was it actually negative? Could it be compared to like the N-word and so forth?
Yeah, it definitely is a similar term to like the N-word. It was like a racial slur to mixed people.
Oh. All right, the N-word is not a bad word. The N-word means to be a man of color or a so-called black man. That's all it means. It just means black. Before the flood happened, when you read in the Bible, before that flood in the Bible happened, it meant Lord. Lord. That's all it means. But when the Caucasian came into prominence, they started to change the etymology of words. And they didn't even know how to pronounce the word. Like, they added an extra G to it and started calling it that word. and they didn't even know what it meant, so they just used it in a derogatory way, but it wasn't a derogatory word. Also, if you go to Africa, there's a country called Niger, or Niger. That word has always been around. That's what it originally was. Like you had I forgot the cat's name back in Europe. They ruled Europe. He was a, but was it? That's where we get the word melanin from. I forgot his name. I might make a video about it. But even back then, you called them Nigers, meaning a so-called black man or a man of color. It's not a derogatory word at all.
Okay, so once you started using that name, how did black people react to that?
Oh, people, I get I get flack to this day for that name. Like when I do shows and there's like older people in the crowd that kind of are more aware.
Because they have been brainwashed. I believe it's a bad word, but a lot of black people are very sneaky. They just don't want you to have an identity for yourself. Why are you more offended about what the hell I'm calling myself? Who are you to tell? And that's a lot of black people. They like to tell mulatto people what's best for them instead of letting them do what they want to do. All right, they're always trying to tell you what's best for you, what you should do, and these people do not have your best interest at heart. Since when the fuck have black people ever cared about light-skinned people? Since when? They call y'all the most derogatory shit in the world, but when y'all want to call yourself mulatto, all of a sudden they want to act like they care about derogatory terms. You know, they say the most derogatory shit to y'all in the world. Like, come on.
Of the term, they will be like, they even used to come up to my parents like, how dare you let her call herself this, you know what I'm saying? But for me, it's not that deep. It's me embracing who I am, and it's hard to express to.
Absolutely, and you should. Don't let them guilt trip you into not doing it, which it already worked because you call yourself Big Lotto now, but you didn't change it too much. But you should definitely change it back to Miss Mulatto.
Someone that wouldn't know the struggles that mixed people do experience. So,
in fact, is that the same stuff that they say on mixed people? Well, y'all don't know the black struggle. Y'all don't know the struggle. You can't speak about it. What makes you qualified to speak on their struggle? Mixed race people's struggles or light skinned people's struggles. You know what I'm saying? But when you talk about their struggle, they tell you to shut up. You know, but you know that's the hypocrisy.
It's kind of something that I just brush off my shoulders. Now I don't even care to explain it to people. You wouldn't understand it because you don't live that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so when you have an angry older black person confronting your father, who's also black, about letting his daughter use this name, how did your father react to it?
At first, I would say definitely at first, it was the same with me, like you're all in your feelings, you know, very emotional at first, trying to explain to somebody, why I call myself this, but eventually, like, we took it and ran with it, and it's like, you're not gonna understand it, period. You're not gonna understand it. It's something that me and my family, experienced as a biracial, family, so it's not even worth explaining or breaking down to anybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've always felt that words have too much power. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely agree with that.
You know, a word should not make you want to kill somebody or get angry or get out of your character, but quite often that's what happens. So, I mean, I'm all for taking words and trying to take the power away from them. It sounds like that's what you're trying to do.
Definitely. That's definitely the objective in naming myself Miss Mulatto.
No doubt.
And it's so dope because I have like so many little mixed girls that come up to me that do understand what I'm trying to express with me naming myself Miss Mulatto, and they're like, oh my gosh, you just make me love the skin I'm in. You know, I love the texture of my hair. I love my bright complexion.
And that's what they fear. They don't want us to be confident in what we are. They don't want you to have an identity. They don't want light-skinned people to be confident in themselves. They say it all the time. If a light-skinned man walks around confident and cocky, they know what that represents. All right. They even make fun of light-skinned people for being in the mirror. You know, dark-skinned. I heard a cat say this in the comment section, and it was funny. He said, you know, dark-skinned niggas gotta avoid the mirror to avoid depression, and that's kind of like facts. But they'll make fun of a light-skinned dude for being in the mirror. The only way they can look in the mirror is if everybody gassed them up to do so. Like you have to give them reassurance to do that. you know, and they don't want us to feel confident. They want us to feel how they feel. Being black is just being miserable. These people are miserable. Not all of them, but a lot of them, and they need somebody to be a slave for them. All right, that's all this stuff is about. And yes, like I said, you can see that when she called herself mulatto, she inspired other mulatto girls. All right, but black girls would come up here trying to change her name, because, like I said, they don't want that. They don't want light skinned people to have confidence and choose each other first and do stuff like that. They want you to be a slave. But let's keep going.
Not everyone looks like me. As mixed people, we come out looking any different way. You know what I'm saying? So I think I love it. So if you don't like it, guess what? It ain't stopping nothing over here.
Right. I mean, especially even with siblings, where you have one, you know, you have a sibling that looks black, another sibling looks white, and one that you don't even know, and you know what I'm saying? It's, I mean, that's cool though. I dig it.
Yeah, because it's an ethnicity, not just really how you look. But I mean, let's be real. The standard for a mulatto is a light brown complexion, reddish, ruddy complexion. But I'm gonna react more to more videos about this, about Miss Mulatto, sorry, or Big Lotto now. How she was bullied into changing her name.